are gathered here to fill you with fear and give you a treat for your ears. As we invade your mind with our scary rhymes and some tales that can be gory. As you bear witness and sit here and listen to our poetic horror stories. This is a story about a captain, his first mate, and his crew who were lost at sea. They have been floating around for days on the cargo ship, the Blue Odyssey, and they hadn't seen land in weeks. All they could hear was the waves rolling and crashing against the ship as they dip and dive, bobbing up and down as they drift. And now the fog is starting to roll in, making it hard for them to see anything. The captain thinks to himself, this is a new issue he has to deal with. He knows this is a real mess he and his crew are in. They are in real danger. They don't have enough food and water left, maybe a week at best. They are going to need a miracle soon, God's intervention and help. Or he will have to make some life and death choices that he knows he will live to regret. But he wasn't there just yet. His first mate tries and finds a signal on their hand radio to send out a message, an SOS, to contact the Coast Guards. They need help and are in distress. But nothing so far has come from it. There are 10 men in all, including the captain on the ship, and everyone there was praying that this isn't how they would meet their ends. A watery grave at sea, where their bodies may never be recovered, where their families and loved ones will never know what happened to them. They would become another ghost story at sea, thanks to their captain's greed.
Hello, PHS crew. We have a question for you. Do you believe there is a Bermuda Triangle? Let's have a conversation in the comments below. We are dying to know.
How did these poor souls end up here? Let's take you back to the beginning. The captain was looking for experienced crewmen to take a 10-day sea trip to help locate a lost cargo ship. It disappeared around 10 days ago, but the company the ship belonged to finally was able to track the cargo ship. It had a weak signal. The company needed a crew to go out quickly and to retrieve the cargo from the lost ship, and to see if there were any survivors. The company needed to get ahead of the mishap before this became breaking news, and this became a major lawsuit. They needed this to be investigated and resolved quickly. But most of all, they needed the cargo back untouched and undisturbed, preserved and perfect. The captain had a history working with the company and had recovered missing cargo ships for the company before. His work was proficient and professional, and it was all done under the table. No issue and no problems. For the captain, this was a no-brainer. He thought this was going to be an easy job. It should have been easy money. But he was wrong. He quickly assembled a crew of 10 capable men that could handle anything that would come their way. The company sent the crew out the very next day, without any delay. Too bad the captain and the crew didn't stop and ask why the company needed the cargo ship back so quickly. And what was the cargo they were shipping in the first place? Whatever it was, it had to be controversial for the company to go through such lengths and expense. All the hassle and trouble. You have no idea how true this is. The company couldn't let the world know about their secret, because the truth would destroy the world and life as we know it.
I kept hearing someone talking, so I lifted up my head. But I heard nothing. The voices just stopped. So I laid my head down on my pillow, and the voices came back. I was shocked. It was like they were whispering in my ear. But I couldn't understand them. What they were saying wasn't clear.
Now, we're back to the present. The crew at sea were becoming increasingly unhinged, to the point the 10 men started seeing and hearing strange things. They were seeing shadows move all over the boat. They could hear their names being called from the fog. They were starting to lose their minds. They were starting to fall ill. Everyone was starting to become sick. Something just wasn't right. To the crew, they felt like the fog lasted for days. They couldn't tell day from night. Everything seemed to be covered by a dreary, pale gray light. Some of the men became very aggressive and violent. They were paranoid and suspicious of one another, and it caused them to start fights. The captain and his first mate had to tie up some of the men until they would calm down. It was wild. The captain was trying to figure out what was happening with his crew. He really didn't know what to do. He wasn't sure if this was happening from a lack of sleep, or because they had to ration their water and food. Maybe the lack of sleep was making them weak, or maybe it was from them not getting enough to eat. That could have been a possibility. But the captain felt it was something else causing the crew to behave this way. They seemed like they were going stir crazy, but they were only on the sea for about a week, and these men were very experienced. So, it couldn't be that. It was most definitely something else, but he just couldn't place his finger on it. But little did he know, he hadn't seen anything yet. Something more terrifying was about to take effect. The captain and his crew were all standing together on the front deck of the ship, when some of the men started to hear a loud siren. These men fell to their knees in excruciating pain. They were begging for the noise to stop. It was driving them insane. But like I said, not all of the men could hear the sound. The captain didn't hear it. He knew that these men did, because it started taking a physical toll on their bodies. One of the crew started bleeding profusely from his ears, while another man bled tears of blood from his eye sockets. One of the crewmen started coughing and vomiting up what looked like chunks of his lungs. The crewmen that weren't affected were afraid to go near the affected men. They started back up far away. They wanted to keep their distance. But that wasn't the worst of it. One of the men that was in pain from the sound of the siren suddenly stood up. He just stood there with a blank stare, with his mouth stretched open wide, but no sound was coming out. He was staring intensely into the fog at the front of the boat. Then suddenly, he started screaming and yelling out no. The captain had no idea what was going on, because he didn't see anything in the fog. Suddenly, the man took off running away to the opposite end of the deck, yelling,
Don't let it get me!
Then he leapt off the end of the deck to the sea below, he was instantly swallowed up by the fog. You couldn't see him at all. The men started screaming,
"Men overboard!"
Then one by one, the other affected men took off running, screaming, "There's a giant monster in the fog." But the captain and the others who weren't affected didn't see anything. The captain tried his best to stop the men from jumping off the deck, but there was nothing he could do but watch them jump to their death. There's now only 5 men left: the captain, his first mate, and 3 crewmen. They were all scared of what was going to happen next. This is when 2 of the crewmen started to hear music. They swear they could hear angels singing a beautiful heavenly tune. It was a song that made them feel good. They said God was calling them home. But again, the captain, his first mate, and 1 other crewman didn't hear anything. The captain told the 2 men to cover their ears, to not listen to it. It's not real. But they refused. And suddenly, the 2 crewmen pulled out their knives and slit their throats. They fell down dead. They quickly bled to death. The last crewman left started screaming. He didn't want to die. He will do anything to survive. Then he pulled out a gun and started shooting wildly at the fog. The captain's first mate tried to stop him, but he approached the man at the wrong time, and he shot him in the head. He was instantly killed. It was now only the gunman and the captain. Suddenly, the gunman looked at the captain and aimed the gun at him. But out of nowhere, the gunman was grabbed by a giant monster hand, and he was crushed to death. The captain was the only one left. He was all alone. That was until he heard a horn. He could see movement in the fog. It was a ship coming towards his direction. He thought to himself, thank God he was saved. At least if he could get out of there, then his crewmen didn't die in vain. But when he saw the ship's name, he fell to his knees, and he started instantly shaking. The captain yelled out,
"What the hell is going on?"
Because the ship's name was the Blue Odyssey, the same name as his ship. It was a duplicate. And on the ship, he could see himself and his 9 crewmen. But they couldn't see him, nor the ship through the fog. It was like he was invisible, a ghost. What the captain didn't know was that he and his crew were all a part of an experiment. There never was another ship before them. You see, the Blue Odyssey was equipped with special technology built into it. That was an alien technology from a wrecked alien spaceship. The company's scientists extracted a device from the alien spaceship that could travel between space and time. It could move forward or backward at any point in a timeline. But unfortunately for the captain and his crew, they were caught in a time loop. It looks like the captain and his crewmates will live this time over and over again. For how long? The company doesn't have any idea. They are stuck in a Bermuda Triangle effect. At least that is what the company has named it. The company in question needed human test subjects to see the effects on a human mind and body, if it was able to withstand the effect of time travel. They wanted to see what would happen, and the company needed to report back the deep state, per their governmental contract. So, the ship was sent off course on purpose. and to drift in the middle of the sea, far away from land and any cities. These findings are quite interesting. Maybe man's bodies and minds aren't capable of time travel at this stage. Our molecular structure is quite different from aliens. Maybe it's because aliens are used to time travel, and their bodies and brains are used to moving about in different dimensions. But the company won't give up. They will try again with a new crew of men, somewhere in the near future. We hope you enjoyed Blue Odyssey, the Bermuda Triangle Effect, an original story. If you did enjoy it, then please like, share, and comment to let us know. And if you're new, please subscribe and become a part of the PHS crew. And since you made it this far, then why don't you click on the iCard? We have many original horror stories you will enjoy. We appreciate and thank you all, and we will see you in our next video.